the bite that changed everything. The palace of the Drakkar Dominion was never quiet. It was a place of glowing halls, tall crystal walls, and burning torches shaped like dragon wings. Every step inside the palace sounded heavy, serious, and full of rules that no human dared to break. And in the middle of this strange, shining world worked Lyra, a young human maid who always kept her head low and her heart steady. Lyra cleaned rooms, carried trays, washed armor, and tried to avoid attention. In the palace, humans were servants, nothing more. She had learned to move quietly, breathe quietly, and think quietly. But even with her careful nature, she always felt the eyes of the alien nobles on her. They did not see her as a person, only as a tool. Still, Lyra worked. She had no choice. But on one strange morning, everything changed. It started when the palace bell rang 3 times, a signal for all servants to begin their day. Lyra lifted her cleaning basket, tied her hair, and walked toward the royal wing, the area where the alien prince lived. Most servants hated going there, not because of the prince, but because of his dragon. The young dragon named RYX. RYX was famous among the palace staff. He was rare, dangerous, and unpredictable. Some said he could smell fear. Some said he understood anger. Some even whispered that he had bitten 3 guards in the past month, and those guards never fully healed. So whenever Lyra was assigned to clean the prince's chamber, she felt her stomach tighten. But work was work. She walked through the tall golden doors, took a deep breath, and stepped inside. The chamber was quiet. Too quiet. Prince Kael was not there. Servants only entered his room when he was away, and today it seemed safe. Lyra began her usual routine. She cleaned the glass table, folded the blankets, and arranged the books on a shelf. Everything seemed normal until she heard a sound. A soft breath, a low growl, a shifting weight against the floor. Her heart jumped. She froze. Slowly, she turned her head, and there he was, RYX. The young dragon sat near the corner, his silver-blue scales glowing under the soft palace lights. His wings were half open, like he was waking up or preparing to leap. His golden eyes were fixed on Lyra. She had not seen him when she entered. He must have been sleeping, and she had walked right into his resting space. Her chest tightened. She wanted to step back, but her legs refused to move. RYX lifted his head and sniffed the air as if testing her scent. His tail curled slowly behind him. Lyra held her breath, praying he would turn away. But he didn't. He walked toward her. Each step echoed across the room, slow and heavy. She tried to stay calm, though her shaking hands betrayed her fear. Humans never approached a royal dragon. Even the prince handled RYX carefully. Lyra whispered, "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you." Her voice trembled, but it was gentle. For a brief moment, it seemed like RYX understood her tone. He tilted his head, watching her closely. She started to take a small step backward, hoping to move away without startling him. But that was when everything went wrong. RYX's nostrils flared. His eyes widened. His wings lifted slightly, as if something in her scent surprised him. Before she could react, the dragon lunged forward with stunning speed. Lyra gasped. His teeth sank into her hand. A sharp pain shot through her arm like fire. She fell to her knees, gripping her hand, expecting the worst: poison, blood loss, death. She had heard stories of dragon bites destroying bones, tearing through nerves, leaving humans screaming. But this pain felt different. There was heat, so much heat. The bite mark glowed faintly, like molten metal under her skin. And then, strangely, the pain faded. Not slowly, not naturally. It vanished suddenly, as if someone had switched it off. Lyra stared at her hand, shaking. The mark was strange. Not torn skin, not deep wounds. It looked like small, glowing scales pressing into her flesh. She blinked in shock. RYX backed away from her, breathing hard. His entire body trembled. He did not look like a dragon who had attacked. He looked confused, almost scared. That frightened her even more. Before either of them moved again, the doors crashed open. Palace guards stormed inside, weapons drawn. They saw Lyra on the ground and the dragon standing over her. One guard shouted, "She's bitten. She's done for." Another guard aimed his spear at RYX, but the dragon growled loudly, warning them to stay back. Lyra slowly stood up, expecting to feel weak or dizzy. But she didn't. She felt steady, sharp, alert. Her ears caught sounds from the hallway that no human should have heard. Footsteps far away, whispers behind walls, heartbeat to the guards. What is happening to me?" she whispered. The guards stared at her, shocked, because humans did not survive royal dragon bites. Ever. Yet Lyra stood tall, breathing normally, eyes clear, skin glowing with faint silver light. RYX looked at her, golden eyes wide, as if he was seeing something ancient, something he had been waiting for. And in that silent moment, everyone in the room realized. This was not an attack. This was something else. Something bigger. Something that would shake the entire palace. Something that would silence it. Forever. The prince starts watching her. The guards did not understand what they were seeing. No human stood after a royal dragon bite. No human breathed so calmly afterward. And certainly no human glowed. But Lyra did. And that alone was enough to spread fear like cold air across the prince's chamber. The guards whispered to each other, trying to decide who should approach her first. None dared to move closer. Even RYX, the young dragon who had caused all of this, stayed strangely quiet, his golden eyes locked on Lyra's face instead of her injured hand. One guard finally spoke. "We must report this to the prince." His voice shook. Another guard nodded quickly. "Yes, right away." But Prince Kale did not wait for reports. He arrived on his own. The tall, silver-armored prince stepped through the doorway with the confidence of someone who feared nothing, not even a dragon. His glowing eyes, sharp like twin blades, landed on RYX first, and then on Lyra. His expression froze for a moment. "What happened here?" he asked quietly. His voice wasn't loud, but carried power. Even RYX lowered his head slightly. The head guard bowed. "My prince, the dragon, bit the maid." Lyra stepped back, nervous. She expected anger, punishment, anything. But Kale's eyes narrowed, studying her like she was something from an ancient legend. "Bit her," he repeated softly. "And she is standing?" "Yes, my prince," the guard said. "She is unchanged." Kale walked toward Lyra, slowly, carefully, almost like he was approaching dangerous magic. "Let me see your hand." Lyra hesitated but showed it. The glowing scale-like mark was still there, pulsing faintly under her skin. Kale reached for her hand but stopped inches away, as though he could feel the heat coming off the mark without touching it. "This is impossible," he whispered. RYX suddenly stepped forward, placing himself right between Lyra and the prince, blocking Kale from touching her hand. He spread his small wings, growling like a warning. The guards gasped. Prince Kale did not move. He simply watched the dragon with deep interest. "So," he said slowly, "you bite her, and now you protect her?" RYX lowered his head again, almost nodding. Lyra stared at the dragon, still confused and frightened. She didn't understand why he reacted this way. She had done nothing special. Kale looked at her again. "You will come with me," he said. "Me?" Lyra whispered. "Why? You survived a bite that kills warriors. That means you're no ordinary human. And I do not let strange things walk around my palace without answers." His tone wasn't cruel, but held the weight of absolute command. Lyra followed him, RYX walking beside her like a silent shadow. As they moved through the glowing hall, palace staff peeked from behind pillars. Their shocked whispers followed her like cold wind. "That's the maid who survived the bite. How is she still alive? Maybe she is cursed. No, maybe she is blessed. She should not be here. Humans can't carry dragon blood." Kale heard every whisper, and his jaw tightened. He stopped in front of a large door made of dark stone. Ancient symbols covered its surface, glowing with faint blue light. Lyra had never seen this room before. Humans were not allowed this deep into royal territory. The prince placed his hand on the stone. The door unlocked with a heavy sound. "Inside," he said. Lyra entered carefully. The room was round, with tall shelves full of old scrolls and metal tablets. The center held a circular platform with strange symbols carved into it. "This," Kale said, "is the Hall of Drakkar Knowledge. Only royals enter here." Lyra swallowed hard. "Why bring me here?" Kale faced her. Because I want to know why our YX chose you. CH chose me? She repeated, confused. Prince Kale nodded once. Dragons do not bite randomly. A bite is a test of the soul. Most fail. You didn't. Lyra didn't understand. She felt like a simple girl being pushed into a storm far too big for her. Kale stepped onto the glowing platform. Come. Lyra stepped forward and immediately felt a strange pull in her chest. The symbols beneath her feet began to glow brighter, reacting to her presence. Kale's eyes widened. That should not happen, he whispered. Suddenly, the room trembled. Our YX roared. Blue flames burst from the carved symbols, swirling around Lyra like smoke made of light. She felt warmth flowing into her veins. Not painful, powerful. Her heartbeat matched the dragon's roar. Kale stepped back in shock. This is ancient dragon energy. You should not be able to feel this. Lyra could barely breathe. What is happening to me? Kale stared at her with something he never showed to anyone. Fear mixed with fascination. You are bonding, he said. The dragon's bite awakened something inside you. Lyra shook her head. I don't want power. I just want to work. It doesn't matter what you want, Kale said. The dragon chose you, and now the palace will fear you. Arwyx suddenly pushed himself against Lyra's leg, as if comforting her. Kale stepped closer again. In the morning, the council will demand to take you away for tests. They fear humans, and they fear what you may become. Lyra felt her heart drop. So what will you do with me? She whispered. Kale's eyes locked onto hers. I will watch you, he said. Every move, every breath, until I understand what you are becoming. The fire around her dimmed slowly, but the fear inside her only grew. Because she realized something. She wasn't safe from the palace. She wasn't safe from the prince. And after the bite, she wasn't even safe from herself. The palace fears Lyra. The next morning began with heavy silence, an unusual thing inside the Drakkar Palace, where every hallway usually hummed with activity. But today the halls felt tight, tense, almost afraid. And the fear had a name now. Lyra. She didn't know it yet, but her survival was spreading through the palace like wildfire. Servants whispered, guards stared, and nobles hid behind their jeweled masks as she walked past. Even the air felt different around her. She could hear it. She could feel it. Every heartbeat, every gasp, every scared stare. And she hated it. Arwyx, the dragon, walked beside her like a fierce guardian. Every time someone stepped too close, he growled softly, and they instantly backed away. The dragon's loyalty only made the rumors worse. Look, the creature is protecting her. She must be controlling it. No human has ever bonded with a royal dragon. Maybe she is dangerous. Lyra clenched her shaking hands. She didn't want this. She never asked for power, but she could not undo the bite. Prince Kale watched her from a distance, silent, unreadable, intense. His gaze followed every movement she made. He still didn't understand what she was becoming, and that made him cautious. Finally, he spoke. Walk with me. She obeyed, Arwyx following closely. Together, they moved toward the palace council chamber, a large room where nobles held meetings and judged anyone they considered a threat. And today, the threat was Lyra. White medium star, the chamber of judgment. The council chamber was enormous, with stone dragon statues guarding the walls and a glowing blue floor that reacted to strong emotion. The nobles were already seated, tall, elegant aliens with sharp eyes and sharper tongues. The queen herself sat at the center, wearing armor made of silver scales. Her gaze was cold as ice the moment she saw Lyra. So, the queen began, this is the human. Lyra felt the pressure in the room shift. The nobles looked at her not like a maid, but like a bomb. One noble leaned forward. She should be locked away immediately. Another hissed. A human touched by dragon power? We cannot allow this. She survived the bite, said another. It means she carries the spark. She could be dangerous. Lyra wanted to speak, to defend herself, but her voice stuck in her throat. Prince Kale stepped forward. She is under my watch. A quiet gasp rippled through the chamber. The queen narrowed her eyes. You dare claim ownership over something we do not understand. She survived, Kale replied. Arwyx chose her. That is not something we can ignore. The queen turned her sharp gaze to Lyra. Human, step forward. Lyra swallowed hard and did as she was told, feeling every pair of alien eyes stabbing into her. Arwaix followed her, growling low. Stop, the queen ordered. But Arwaix did not stop. He pushed himself in front of Lyra, wings spreading wide. A full protective stance. Gasps erupted. The guard stepped back. The nobles whispered in fear. Never in Drakkar history had a dragon defended a human. Move aside, the queen commanded the dragon. Arwaix growled louder, a deep, dangerous sound that shook the floor. The queen's eyes widened. Kale stepped forward quickly. Mother, he is not attacking. He is protecting. That is the problem, the queen replied coldly. A dragon protecting a human? Something unnatural is happening. Her eyes dropped to Lyra's glowing bite mark. Show it. Lyra lifted her hand slowly. The scales still glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. A noble stood up suddenly. This is forbidden. She must be taken away before the bond grows stronger. Another shouted, if the bond completes, the dragon will never obey us again. A third added, we must separate them, by force if needed. Arwaix roared, so loud the statue shook. Lyra's heartbeat slammed against her chest. She felt Arwaix's emotions, fear, anger, protectiveness, all pouring into her mind. And then something strange happened. Her mark glowed brighter. The floor beneath her feet lit up in swirling patterns. Blue flames, the same ancient fire from the Hall of Knowledge, rose around her. The nobles stumbled back. Kale whispered, not again. The queen stood quickly, armor clinking. Stop this at once. But Lyra wasn't doing anything. It was the bond. Arwaix pushed his head against her leg, calming her. The flames dimmed, but not completely. The room remained glowing with eerie blue light. And then the queen spoke. Human, you are becoming a danger to this palace. We cannot allow a maid, a servant, to carry dragon power. Lyra's voice finally returned. I didn't choose this, she whispered. I never wanted power. I only worked here to survive. The queen didn't care. You will be taken to the research wing, she announced, until we understand how to remove this power from you. Kale stepped forward sharply. No. Every noble fell silent. Kale's voice dropped to a dangerous tone. You will not take her. Kale, the queen began. Arwaix chose her, Kale continued. You taught me the ancient laws. The chosen cannot be harmed. She is human, the queen snapped. The law was not made for humans. Kale stared her down. The law does not say species. Only the chosen. The chamber turned ice cold. The queen's face tightened with anger. You would defend a servant over your own counsel? Kale didn't blink. I defend the bond. And if the dragon chose her, then the palace must honor it. Lyra felt her breath catch. The prince was protecting her. But why? Before anyone could speak again, Arwaix stepped forward and lowered his wings, forming a protective circle around Lyra. An ancient symbol, a mark of loyalty, a sign that could not be ignored. The nobles fell silent. The queen's eyes widened, and everyone realized one terrifying truth. Lyra was no longer just a maid. She was bonded, chosen, dangerous, and the palace had every reason to fear her now. The dragon bond awakens. After the council chamber incident, the palace felt different. No, Lyra felt different. Every hallway seemed louder to her ears. Every passing guard seemed slower to her eyes. Every breath from Arwaix felt warm against her skin, like she could sense his heartbeat inside her own chest. And she hated how natural it felt. She walked beside Prince Kale in silence, Arwaix close at her heels. The prince led her to a quiet training hall, empty, echoing, cold. The moment the door closed, he spoke. Sit. Lyra obeyed, trembling inside. Kale studied her like a scientist staring at a dangerous creature. Arwaix is bonded with you, he said, and that means your senses will grow stronger. Your strength will change. Your emotions will affect him, and his emotions will affect you. Lyra swallowed hard. Can it be stopped? No, Kale said simply. Once a bond begins, it grows. Nothing in our history stops it. She felt the weight of his words. She was becoming something she had never asked to be. Kale stepped closer. You must learn to control the changes before they control you. RYX growled softly, sensing her fear. Lyra felt his worry like it was her own. It wasn't telepathy, but it was close. More like shared instinct. Suddenly, Kale tossed a metal sphere across the room. It cracked against the floor and burst into sparks. Lyra flinched. RYX roared. And then it happened. Lyra's vision changed. Everything slowed. The falling sparks appeared like floating stars. She saw every tiny detail, the shape, the movement, the glow. Her heart raced, but her body moved faster than her own thoughts. She raised her hand. A wave of warmth flashed from her palm, and the sparks dimmed, shrinking into smoke. Kale's eyes widened. You stopped it. I didn't mean to, Lyra whispered. But the prince wasn't angry. He was fascinated. You reacted like a dragon, he said. Instinct first. Thought second. Lyra shook her head in fear. I'm human. I'm not supposed to have instincts like this. Kale didn't answer, because he wasn't sure she was just human anymore. White medium star, the first test. Kale paced slowly, thinking. You said you felt fear from RYX, he said. Tell me more. Lyra hesitated. It's like a warm push inside my chest. When he is angry, I feel heat. When he is scared, my heart races. Kale nodded. Then try this. He snapped his fingers sharply. RYX jumped. Lyra gasped as a spike of fear hit her mind. Instinctively, she reached for the dragon's neck and whispered, It's okay. I'm here. RYX calmed instantly. Kale stared. You soothed him faster than I can. Lyra lowered her head. I didn't do anything. You did, Kale said. Dragons only calm for they're bonded. And he responded to you in seconds. The realization hit her like cold water. She wasn't just connected. She was becoming a source of power. But the prince had more tests. He tossed a heavy shield at her feet. Lift it. Lyra eyed it nervously. She was a maid, not a soldier. The shield was thick metal. Humans normally needed 2 hands to lift it. But when she reached down, it rose easily, as if it weighed nothing. Kale stopped breathing for a moment. That confirms it, he said. Your strength is increasing. The bond is changing your body. Lyra dropped the shield, horrified. I don't want to be dangerous. But you already are, Kale answered softly. White medium star, the palace watches from shadows. Unseen by Lyra, the queen stood behind a tinted glass window, observing everything. A group of nobles stood beside her. One whispered, She is gaining power quickly. Another added, If she continues to grow, RYX will only obey her. Not the prince. Not the queen. The queen's jaw tightened. I will not allow a human made to hold power over the royal dragon. A noble asked, What shall we do, my queen? The queen's eyes narrowed. Simple. We control her, before she becomes uncontrollable. But she was wrong. Lyra was already slipping beyond control. White medium star, the bond deepens. Back inside the training hall, Lyra felt suddenly dizzy. A strange pressure rose behind her eyes. RYX lifted his head, growling softly, sensing the shift. Kale rushed forward. What's happening? Lyra held her head. I don't know. It feels like something is trying to open inside me. Warm energy pulsed from the dragon, flowing into her chest. The bite mark burned brightly. Then, a vision hit her. She saw flames, screams, a broken throne, a dragon much larger than RYX, roaring in agony. And then she heard a voice, deep, ancient, echoing through her mind. The bond-bearer returns. Lyra gasped, falling to her knees. Kale grabbed her shoulders. Lyra, talk to me. When she opened her eyes, they glowed briefly with a soft gold light, the same as RYX's. Kale stepped back in shock. You saw something. What did you see? Lyra whispered, barely breathing. I think something old is waking up. Something the palace forgot. RYX pressed his head against her shoulder. Kale looked between them both. What if the dragon didn't just choose her? He whispered. What if it awakened her? Outside the training hall, the queen tightened her grip on her staff. It was clear now. Lyra was transforming into something powerful, something ancient, something the palace would not accept. And the bond had only just begun. A threat from outside. Days passed, but the palace did not calm down. If anything, the tension grew thicker. Whispers followed Lyra everywhere she walked. The human is changing. She can lift metal like paper. The dragon listens to her more than the prince. She is dangerous. The queen's eyes followed her like a shadow. The nobles avoided her like she carried poison. Even the guards stood stiff whenever she passed, hands tight on their weapons. The only ones who stayed close were Prince Kale and RYX. But Lyra's bond was changing faster than anyone expected. Her hearing sharpened. Her reflexes quickened. Her emotions influenced RYX's behavior instantly. Bonding was never this fast for the Drakkar people. Some took months. Some took years. Lyra had bonded in days. And that terrified the palace. White Medium Star, Nightfall Trouble. One night, while Lyra rested inside the small room Kale had assigned her, she jolted awake. Not from a dream. Not from fear. But from RYX's panic slamming into her chest like a wave. She rushed to the window and saw the sky glowing red. Smoke rose from the eastern wall. Alarms blared across the palace grounds. Someone was attacking. Lyra grabbed her cloak and ran, RYX bursting through the door behind her with a roar. They sprinted through the halls, passing terrified servants and rushing guards. When she reached the main courtyard, Kale was already there, sword drawn, armor glowing with royal sigils. "Lyra," he shouted, "stay close." "What's happening?" she yelled over the alarm. "Rebels," he said. "They want the dragon." Before she could reply, a violent explosion hit the courtyard wall. Stone shattered like sand. Dust filled the air. Through the smoke, dark figures stepped forward. Alien rebels in black armor, faces hidden behind masks. The leader pointed at RYX. "Take the dragon alive." Kale raised his sword. "Over my dead body." The leader grinned. "Happily." White Medium Star, the battle begins. The rebels rushed forward. RYX roared and leapt into the air, wings snapping open. His fire burst across the attackers, forcing them to scatter. Kale fought with fierce precision, blade cutting through enemy armor. Lyra ran behind him, but the bond was amplifying everything. She felt the rebels' anger, felt RYX's rage, felt Kale's battle focus. She tried to stay calm, but the emotions overwhelmed her. Then one rebel broke through the line and charged directly at her. Kale turned too late. "Lyra!" The rebel raised his blade. RYX screamed, and Lyra felt something explode inside her. Her mark glowed bright gold. Time slowed. Her body moved without thought. She lifted her hand. A burst of golden fire shot forward, slamming into the rebel and throwing him across the courtyard. Kale froze. RYX froze. Everyone froze. Lyra stared at her own hands in shock. I didn't mean to do that." Kale stepped toward her slowly, carefully, like she was carrying lightning. "You just used dragon fire," he whispered. "But you're human." Another explosion hit the courtyard wall, snapping everyone back to the moment. "Lyra, behind you." Two rebels lunged at her from behind. RYX roared and tackled one, pinning him to the ground. The other swung his weapon at Lyra. She caught his wrist, without effort. The rebel gasped as her grip tightened. "I said stop," she shouted. A shockwave burst from her voice, throwing him back as if a giant had hit him. Kale stared at her with wide eyes. "You're growing stronger every hour," he said. "This is not normal bonding." But Lyra didn't have time to think. More rebels climbed over the broken walls, firing energy bolts. One bolt shot toward Lyra's chest, but RYX leapt in front of her, taking the blast on his shoulder. "RYX!" Lyra screamed. The pain hit her too, sharp and burning. She felt his injury inside her own nerves. Without thinking, she touched RYX's wound, and her hand glowed, sealing the burn instantly. Kale's eyes widened. "You can heal him now." "I didn't know I could," she said. RYX nuzzled her hand gently, eyes glowing with gratitude. "Kale," Lyra whispered, "they won't stop. They're here for him." "No," Kale said, gripping his sword tightly. "They're not here for RYX. They're here for you." Lyra froze. "What?" Kale pointed at the rebel leader in the distance. He wasn't watching the dragon. He was staring straight at Lyra. "The girl carries the ancient spark," the leader shouted to his soldiers. "We take her. The dragon follows the spark." Lyra felt her blood turned cold. The rebels didn't want to capture RYX. They wanted her, because of what she was becoming. White medium star, the turning point. The rebels charged again. Kale grabbed Lyra's arm. "Get behind me." But RYX pushed in front of both of them, wings wide, teeth bared. The bond flared. Lyra felt his fury. He felt her fear. Their heartbeats synced. A golden aura rose around them both like firelight. The rebels stopped, terrified. What is that?" one shouted. Kale whispered, "The bond is strengthening." Too quickly. Lyra lifted her hand. Golden fire curled around her fingers. Not wild, not uncontrolled, like it belonged to her. The rebel leader stepped back nervously. "This is not possible." Lyra stared at him, her eyes glowing like RYX's. "You should leave," she said. "Now." But the leader snarled, "You're a human. You command nothing." And he rushed at her. Big mistake. RYX lunged with a roar that shook the walls. Lyra thrust her hand forward. A wave of golden fire blasted across the courtyard, forcing every rebel backward. Some dropped their weapons. Some screamed. Some ran. The leader barely survived, crawling toward the broken wall. When he saw Lyra walking toward him, RYX beside her, Kale behind her, he whispered, "The palace will never allow this bond. They fear it even more than we do." Lyra stepped closer. "Why?" His eyes burned with hate. "Because the last bond-bearer destroyed a kingdom." Then he vanished into the smoke, leaving Lyra shaking and terrified of herself. Kale placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We'll face this together," he said softly. But Lyra wasn't sure, because the rebels were not the biggest threat. The biggest threat was inside the palace, watching her, planning her removal, and she could feel it coming. The truth behind the bite. The palace did not sleep after the rebel attack. Guards doubled their patrols. Nobles closed their doors. Servants whispered behind walls. But none of them whispered about the rebels anymore. They whispered about her. The human girl who used fire. The human who healed a dragon. The human who fought like ancient prophecy. Lyra felt every stare, every fear, every silent question. What is she becoming? But the person asking that question the loudest was Lyra herself. White medium star Kale searches for answers. Prince Kale did not rest. He barely blinked. He stayed in the ancient archives for hours, pulling out scrolls older than the palace walls. Texts written in forgotten languages. Histories erased from the public. Stories of things the Drakkar people feared to remember. Lyra watched him from across the room. RYX curled at her feet. "You should sleep," she said softly. "I can't," Kale replied without looking up. "If the rebels know more about you than we do, then we are already behind." He slammed a heavy book shut in frustration. "There must be something, some clue about your bond." Lyra hugged herself. "I don't want to be special. I just want to go back to normal." Kale finally looked at her. "There is no normal anymore." His voice wasn't cruel, only honest. Lyra lowered her head. RYX nudged her arm gently, as if trying to comfort her. She felt the dragon's worry, his fear, his loyalty, and she wondered if the bond was changing him too. White medium star, the ancient tablet. Kale suddenly froze. He pulled out a cracked stone tablet from the bottom of a dusty shelf. Symbols glowed on the surface, the same blue that had appeared under Lyra's feet during the council meeting. Kale breathed out slowly. "This tablet is forbidden knowledge." Lyra felt a chill. "What does it say?" Kale ran his finger across the symbols. "It speaks of the first bond-bearer," he murmured. "A human, no, a creature that looked human, who bonded with the greatest dragon of our people." Lyra's hand shook. "Human? Are you sure?" Kale nodded. "The tablet calls her the spark of the sky." She carried dragon fire in her veins. Her strength grew faster than the dragons themselves. Her bond became so strong, the palace feared her. Lyra felt her chest tighten. "That sounds exactly like." "Yes," Kale said quietly. "Like you." RYX lifted his head sharply, sensing danger in the words. Kale continued reading. The spark had visions of the future, and her dragon shared her dreams. Together, they could destroy an army. Lyra swallowed hard. "That can't be me. I'm just a maid." The tablet's final line made Kale's face pale. She was not born. She was awakened. Lyra whispered, terrified. Awakened by what? Kale looked at her hand, at the glowing mark. By a dragon's bite. Lyra felt the world tilt around her. She wasn't changing because of magic. She wasn't changing because of fate. She was awakening something ancient. Something lost. Something dangerous. White medium star the queen makes her move. Before Kale could say more, the chamber doors burst open. The queen entered, surrounded by armed guards. Her expression was cold, controlled, like ice holding back a storm. Prince Kale, she said, step away from the girl. Kale stood between Lyra and the queen instantly. Mother, don't do this. The queen's voice was sharp. The rebels were right. She carries the spark. She is becoming what the ancient kings feared. Shutting her away won't fix anything, Kale argued. The queen raised her chin. We don't need to fix her. We need to contain her. Arwyax growled loudly, stepping in front of Lyra. The queen didn't flinch. Move the dragon. Arwyax growled again, louder this time. The guards raised their weapons, lasers humming. Lyra stepped back, heart pounding. She felt Arwyax's fear mixing with her own. And in that moment, the bite mark on her hand started to burn again. Kale noticed. Mother, stop. If you scare her. It is too late, the queen snapped. She is a threat to our people, and I will not let a human hold power greater than royalty. Lyra shook her head desperately. I don't want power. I didn't ask for any of this. But the queen didn't care. She pointed at her guards. Seize the girl. Arwyax roared, wings spreading wide. Blue fire flickered across his scales. Kale stepped between them. No, touch her and you go through me. The queen's eyes narrowed. You are a prince, not a fool. She is not human anymore. She is becoming what destroyed the first dynasty. Lyra trembled. I'm not a monster. The queen's voice went cold. You will be. White medium star, the vision returns. Before the guards reached her, Lyra's knees buckled. The vision hit her again, stronger, clearer. Fire. Broken palace. A throne split in half. A huge ancient dragon screaming in agony. And a female figure with glowing hands standing in the middle of destruction. This time, the figure turned, and it had Lyra's face. She screamed, dropping to the floor. Kale rushed to her. Lyra, breathe. Look at me. Her eyes glowed bright gold. Arwyax roared, circling her protectively. The queen stepped back in shock. What is happening to her? Kale gripped Lyra's shaking hand. What did you see? Lyra's voice came out broken. I saw the old palace burning because of someone like me. Kale swallowed hard. It wasn't you. It was the first bond-bearer. Lyra looked up at him with terrified, glowing eyes. She had my face, Kale. The room fell silent. Even the queen looked shaken. Arwyax lifted his head and let out a slow, deep rumble, a warning to everyone. Kale pulled Lyra close. We will find the truth, he whispered, and I will not let the palace hurt you. But Lyra felt it in her bones. The rebels feared her. The queen wanted to contain her. The old prophecy was waking inside her. And the worst part? Her visions were getting stronger. Soon, they might start becoming real. The palace falls silent. The palace felt strange that night. Too quiet. Too still. Like the walls were holding their breath. Lyra sat in the center of the ancient hall of Drakkar knowledge, breathing slowly. Arwyax curled protectively around her. Prince Kale stood nearby, pacing like a trapped storm. The queen had ordered the entire palace in a lockdown until they contained the human threat. Lyra wasn't a threat, but fear made people blind. Kale tried to reassure her. We're close to the truth now. Once we understand the bond, we can... He stopped, because the floor beneath them pulsed with golden light. Lyra pressed her glowing hand against her chest, panic rising. It's happening again. My mark, Kale, I can't stop it. Arwyax leapt up, wings spread, tail whipping. Blue flames rose around him. Kale stepped closer, gripping her shoulders. Look at me. Stay with me. But Lyra could feel the ancient fire waking inside her. The visions pushed into her mind with unstoppable force. She saw the ancient bond-bearer again, the woman with her face, standing in the ruins of a destroyed palace. Her voice echoed through Lyra's skull. The bond is not chosen. The bond chooses. Lyra gasped and fell forward, collapsing into Kale's arms. Her body burned like fire and ice together. The bond was completing itself. White medium star, the queen strikes. Suddenly, the doors burst open. The queen entered, surrounded by elite guards wearing dragon scale armor. Step away from her, the queen ordered. The bond is too strong now. If we do not separate her from our YX, she will destroy us all. Kale blocked her path. No! The queen's face tightened in fury. You disobey me again? She is a danger to the Drakkar throne. Kale didn't move. She is also the reason the rebels failed. She saved you too, even if you refuse to admit it. She carries dragon fire, the queen shouted. If that fire consumes her, she will kill everyone in this palace. Lyra struggled to stand, her voice shaking. I don't want to hurt anyone. The queen pointed at her harshly. You won't hurt anyone, because you won't be allowed to. She raised her hand, signaling her guards. Seize her, and separate the dragon. Our YX roared, blue flames blasting across the floor. Kel stepped back to shield Lyra. You'll have to get through me. The queen's eyes turned cold as stone. So be it. White medium star, the bond awakens fully. Guards rushed forward. Our YX leapt at them, claws slashing, teeth bared. His wings struck like thunder. Blue fire exploded from his mouth. Kale fought with blazing speed, trying to hold the line. But Lyra couldn't breathe. Her vision blurred. Her body shook. Her heartbeat merged with our YX's rhythm. She felt every strike he took, every burst of pain, every shock of fear. The bond was cutting deeper. Then, her eyes snapped open, bright gold. A wind rose around her, swirling with fire. The floor glowed with ancient symbols, the same ones Kale had seen on the forbidden tablet. Kale turned toward her. Lyra, her voice echoed, layered with power. I can feel everything. The queen stepped back in fear. What is this? Lyra raised her hand. The air cracked with golden electricity. Our YX roared in perfect harmony with her heartbeat. Kale whispered in awe. The bond is complete. White medium star, truth revealed. The ancient symbols across the hall lit up like stars. A voice, not Lyra's voice, but carried through her, echoed across the room. The bond bearer rises. When the throne stands on broken faith. The queen gasped. And no, it can't be. Lyra staggered, but forced herself to stand tall. What does it mean? She asked, voice trembling. Kale answered slowly, breathing hard. My mother feared the prophecy. Because it says a bond-bearer appears when the royal line becomes corrupt, when the throne loses the trust of the dragons. The queen stared at her son as if he had struck her. That prophecy was buried. Kale glared back. You buried it. Lyra's eyes flickered gold. So the bond didn't come to destroy the palace. It came to save it. Our YX growled in agreement. The queen stepped backward, shaken for the first time. No human can hold that role. Lyra walked toward her, our YX beside her, golden fire flickering gently across her skin. You don't need to fear me, she said softly. You need to fear why the bond chose me. Kale's voice hardened. The bond chooses only when the throne is in danger. The queen froze, because she knew exactly what that meant. White medium star, the palace falls silent. Suddenly, all guards lower their weapons. Not because Kale ordered them, not because they feared our YX, but because the entire palace shook. Not from attack, not from power, from recognition. The dragon statues lining the hall glowed with gold light. Their eyes opened. They bowed their stone heads toward Lyra, one by one, like ancient guardians acknowledging a new ruler. The hall fell silent, dead silent. The queen whispered, horrified. She carries the authority of the dragons. Kale stepped forward beside Lyra, and the dragons outranked the throne. Lyra felt tears gather in her eyes, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming weight of destiny. She turned to the queen. I'm not here to take your crown. I'm here because your people are in danger. The queen collapsed into her seat, defeated. The prophecy had chosen. The bond had spoken. Our YX nudged Lyra's arm proudly. Kale placed his hand gently on her shoulder. And the palace, the mighty palace of the Drakkar Dominion, fell completely silent before the human Maid who was never meant to be special, yet became the one they all needed. Lyra, the bond bearer,